On the bottom of the camera, we have our battery compartment with our standard EN-EL15, the quick charger, which may or may not come with the travel charger or the card, depending on what country you purchased it in. For charging, there'll be a little light that blinks that tells you it's charging, and then when it is fully charged, it's just steady like that. And in the camera, there will be specific battery information about how much power is left on your battery right now. Is your battery overall in new or old condition? And how many images have you taken on that particular battery? Now, one of the great things about the SLR cameras is that they have very long battery life. And so you can expect around 1,200 shots. It's about 50 minutes if you're shooting movies, so a bit shorter there, and about 2.5 hours to charge that battery. Battery warning, watch out. Okay, so Nikon has made some changes in their batteries over the years, and their current battery is labeled as lithium-ion 20 on the back of it. And if you go to buy a battery in a camera store these days, that's what you're probably going to end up with. But there are some older batteries where they've made a slight tweak in the electrical discharge of the battery. They haven't really changed the battery, it still works, but the lithium-ion 01 will give you a short battery life. It's just not as long as you would expect, given the numbers that I just gave you, about 1,200 shots. And so if you have one of the 01 batteries, you can, at least in the United States, you may have to check with the country that you reside in, you can get a free replacement. It is likely that you need to have a proof of purchase. And so if you don't have proof of purchase, you're probably just going to have to either just use that battery as it's just a shorter life battery or get a new battery. And so in general, Nikon has been very specific about really wanting to use their own batteries. And I think this is for a couple of reasons. Number one, they want to make more money from selling you accessories. Yes, that's true, but they also have a very specific electric discharge and chip system in these batteries. And so I don't know that a off-brand battery is going to have the correct chip system in it. And so I would be very hesitant about buying off-brand batteries for this camera. Now, along with this battery warning, as I was researching this, there is an older battery recall. So there were some batteries that came supplied with the D800, the 800E, and the D7000 that had a short circuit and overheat problem. And it was a certain batch of batteries that came out of the Nikon factory. And if you look on the back, there is a kind of a serial number or a batch number, and the 9th character being E or F is bad. And if you have one of those, Nikon will replace your battery. Now, depending on what country you live in, you may need proof of purchase to have this replacement done. Now, you can either coordinate this with your local camera shop, or you can go to the Nikon website in whatever country you're at and look up battery recall. You can look up EN-EL15, which is the battery on this, and that will give you more information about how you go about that process on there. And so the batteries that are being supplied with this camera are totally fine. So if that's the only battery you have, you don't need to worry about anything. It's only if you have maybe a battery from a previous Nikon camera. You got your serial number down there for insurance purposes, standard tripod socket, so you can mount it to all your tripods and standard accessories there. There is a little rubber cover that you can take off if you get the MB17 vertical grip, which is really handy for anyone who shoots a lot of verticals. So sports photographers, portrait photographers find this very handy. There will be a battery that you can put in there as well as one in the camera. Supplied with the MB-D17 is a AA battery holder in case you are in far-flung Africa with no place to buy a new battery and your old battery discharged and heated because it's one of the recalled batteries that doesn't work right. You can power the camera through AA batteries. And if you have a Nikon D5 and you have a bunch of the EN-EL18 batteries that work in the D5, you can get this little battery cover, the BL5 cover, and you can use the D5 batteries in this camera here. And those are some very powerful batteries that have 2,500 shots. And so if you really want to get through a lot of shots, you can get one of those batteries.